So the shirt I'm wearing today, man, I'm doing it on purpose. It says that ordinary life is a crime. So this is a shirt which is from my delusional days when I used to believe that I was special and I'm going to change the world. I'm going to live a life beyond ordinary. With age, I realized that delusion of grandeur was just madness. But you know what? The past 6 months have hit me not just in my chest, but in my face, and it's a brand new awakening and learning. And I'm gonna say a few things which I've learned in the past 6 months, and as we talk, more will come out. The one thing I've learned is, you know what, this whole delusion of grandeur as an individual, that alone is not a sham, but the whole delusion of grandeur as humanity, as a species, is bullshit, because you know what, we've all become worthless. All the plans we make, man plans, God disposes, all the right. It has never been truer. In February 2000, all kinds of plans of what I'm going to do, what I have to do, I'm going to travel, I have to do this and that. And suddenly, the whole world has come to a standstill. All our plans, 7 billion people, all the planning that we have is reduced to nada, nothing. It means nothing. All are, we're going to change the world, we're going to do that. It's all worth BS, man. So in that helplessness, once that delusion of grandeur is gone, you realize you're nobody, you're nothing. In that helplessness, in that nada, in that not, I see massive opportunity, immense opportunity.
I completely agree, FQ. And I'll say, for me, and I'll just use some personal examples here. I completely agree. I think these illusions of grandeur, what I just refer to it as, we're not as important as we like to make ourselves out to be. We're not as important as we think we are. And, I think that that's a very sobering statement. I think, sometimes we have to force humility upon ourselves. I don't think humility, if you look at every religious text, there's a reason being humble and humility is mentioned, because as humans, I don't think that's really, we're not prone to that. So it's a learned skill. And I think sometimes we have to humble ourselves to ourselves and really take a look at our lives. So as far as the pandemic goes, I had a lot of plans. I had set my year up. Like most people, I knew what I had a goal that I wanted to make. Being self-employed, I can set my sales goals. So I had that. I had trips planned, speaking engagements, and so forth. And guess what? No airplanes were flying, right? And now I happen to live in a country. My passport, my blue passport, has always been like, let me in anywhere in the world, and now it doesn't. So the world has changed. And I think that I'll just tell you, for me, it was a hard pill to swallow, because I had been building towards something. And what I can tell you is, when I stop and look at it, the truth is this year is actually turning out better than I had ever imagined. And I'm going to end up making more money than I thought. I'm just getting it in a different way. And that's what I want to really talk about with this, is that a lot of times we create emotional attachments to the way something should be. So if you say, hey, I want to make $1 million, okay, but how do you want to do that? Well, I want to make $1 million selling cars. Well, do you want to make $1 million, or do you want to make it selling cars? Because those don't always go together. So when we take and actually understand what it is that we want, a lot of times it's just that we ended up getting it. It just doesn't look the way that we had originally imagined. And I think COVID, if you're bright enough, if you want to see it, it has truly been an amazing blessing. I've heard so many people talk about getting off of social media, taking a break from it. I've heard so many people talk about really reevaluating their lives. And let's be honest, the Karens, the idiots, the people that just are so not resilient, that's who's all over the internet. That's who's flooding our news feeds, because idiots get traction.
No, I'm not undermining the devastating effect of the pandemic. I've personally lost my mother to it. I've lost an uncle to it. So I'm not saying that that there isn't a bad side of this, but you know what? It is what it is. But we have to move forward and look at what's the positive side. Now, you talked about you're going to make more money, and that's what I
Yeah.
want to come to. There were, a few weeks ago, you told me something that, if somebody talks about, hey, Dennis, why don't you have a better car? And you say, well, because to have a better car, I will need more money. And to need more money, I will have to work harder, which I don't want to. And, I related to that so much because, and the past 6 months have taught me that I have a shoe collection which could embarrass any decent woman. I have a suit collection which could embarrass anybody. In the past 6 months, I've realized I have lived on 2 pairs of shorts and a few T-shirts. I've got a couple of black T-shirts and a couple of gray ones, and I just, just for the show, I sort of turn them around. But during the day, I'm walking about in a white vest, wearing shorts, and all my shoes, everything has become redundant. Or everything is the laptops, the iPads, everything. I have come back to my desktop from endless hours on a mobile phone. I'm hardly using my mobile phone. Now I'm back on my desktop on my big screen, on my big keyboard. So all the whole thing we had built. I'm not saying there was something wrong with that. A new door has opened up. And, that door has technology in it. That door has less frivolity in it. That path, which people can take if they want. If they want, they don't have to take it. But if you choose to take that path, it's a path without frivolity. It's a path without wastefulness. It's a path with family. It's a path without impressing other people on social media.
Yeah.
Because right now, nobody gives a fuck about what you got, man. Because you know what? Everybody's living on nothing. And what this pandemic's proven to us is that nothing is way more than enough. You don't need all the crap that you were trying to accumulate. Another thing which we had to experience, because past 6 months we didn't have any house help. And Pakistan, since we have relatively cheaper house help, we end up building huge houses and shelves, and we buy crap and we accumulate. So 6 months I went into dusting myself. And when I did dusting every day, I realized I've got stuff I don't even know I own. I bought it somewhere, put it in a shelf, forgot all about it. And all it was for me was surfaces to clean. That's all. Nothing else. And I'm like, Bina and I are like, why the f do we own this? Why can't we get rid of this? I don't want to clean this every morning for no reason. No one's looking at it.
Yes. No, I love this. And I'm going to say, and just kind of on that, and the reason I'm smiling is, I had plans of purchases. So I had set my business budget and so forth, and I had plans for purchases. I had, lots of other things. But then what happened is, so I'll just use a real simple one. Here's like the pandemic. So I had plans to go to do my normal shopping before everything closed down. And guess what? I went to the store to get toilet paper, and there was no toilet paper. So, what do I do now? What do I do now? Fortunately, I had a good friend across the world that showed me a different way of handling business, right? So, again, I look at things like that. So a lack of product availability has made it so that we have to take and figure something else out. I know I'm not trying to minimize the negative effects of COVID and the people that have lost loved ones. I really think though that is bad, but there has been so much more good that has come out of it. And it really has. And that truly having to live in a situation where we're literally in our face being told, you don't need what you think you need. You don't need it. It's a want. Yeah. Before all of this, it's oh, my phone. Oh, you know what? I need a better camera. Oh, I probably should get a webcam too. Oh, I need all these things. And what the pandemic has really done is it's shown us that for those people that have an ounce of resiliency in them, you have to get back to the basics and learn how to entertain yourself, instead of looking for all of these external sources to make you happy. So I think it's been wonderful. Unfortunately, that's not sexy headlines oh, wow, look at all the personal development that was done, during the quarantine. What people want to see is they want to see the anti-maskers. They want to see the anti-vaxxers. They want to take and look at, oh, was this politicized or not politicized? It's forced people to do without things they believed they needed. It has shown us that we really didn't need them, they're wants, and that in a lot of ways our wants are very surfacey and get in the way of what it is we truly want, because they're just distractions. So I really like the opportunity. I feel like the Lord has truly blessed us with an opportunity to stop everything. Everybody was on the same page with stopping and shutting down, and now we had an opportunity to reevaluate our lives and our decisions and our choices if we chose to take that opportunity.
You said do without things we did not need but want. Not just things, also people.
People.
Even people that we thought we need all these people and all this interaction. No, you don't really, man. You don't. Another thing which has happened on that is it has given us a lot of time to spend time with family we could not deal with in the past. And I think this has gone on for long enough for all the grinding to be done. And now I think family is also connecting better. People are connecting better. Because initially you obviously have that grinding, you have those issues and differences, and then and you can't handle them. But eventually, when there's no choice, you will eventually have to come together.
And I think it also shows some cracks that you can also see that are just not repairable. And I think it's been given us an opportunity to see when it's time to move on as well. All blessings,
and that's not such a bad thing.
No.
If it is so bad, it can't be fixed, then it's best to end the bad thing. Okay, you talked about personal development. I want to branch in that direction. One personal development, if people do not take from this event, is that if you do not see life differently, it would be such a great loss. If you have spent this time trying to become a better person, enlighten yourself, all that's great. But the real enlightenment that I personally feel that people need to get is that understand how insignificant humanity is, not an individual, but humanity itself. How insignificant humanity is, and that burden of we are the saviors of the earth. No, we're not. Neither can we save the earth, nor can we destroy earth. Universe can remove us with nothing, with a virus. So Earth will heal itself. We don't have to do diddly do about it. But one learning which I think humanity needs to get from this event is to understand that the beauty in simple things is much more than in complicated things. I mean, I went to my mom's grave this afternoon. I was just standing there looking at all the graves, and the graves going back 40 years and 50 years. And I was just thinking, all the fights, all the arguments, all the egotistical crap in relationships. Oh, you didn't ask me right. You didn't take care of me. You weren't there when I needed you. You weren't polite to me. All the rage, all the anger, all the competition. It's all worth nothing, man.
Right.
Now, we all know we have to die. But what this pandemic has brought home is that you may think you're going to die 20 years from now. You may think you're going to grow old and you have time to do this. But the pandemic has made you at least made me realize this. It can get into my nose, get into my system, God forbid, and all I've got is like 5 days. So all the hatred, all the ego, all the differences, all the arguments, they become worthless overnight, and it's over, man. And the people you've been fighting with, they could be gone.
Totally.
So you've been doing back to basics, Dennis. I mean, it's really I think this pandemic has nudged and pushed us. Go back to the basics, man. Simplify yourself. Unload the burden of not just physical things, but thoughts. Unload your thoughts, man. Relax, calm down. You're nobody. You're nothing. You have no power over shit, man. Stop fighting and stop arguing. The world is trying to kick up a third world war. I mean, politicians and oil. I mean, oil was not the learning. The fucking thing became worthless in 1 week.
Right.
That
and
black
what's the
goo,
biggest? Sure.
The black goo
And
the world's been fighting over suddenly became worthless.
what industry picked up? What industry picked up? Like what commodity is now worth more than oil? Data. So you think
Right.
about how many people were online during quarantine, especially, right? And they learned a ton about us during pandemic. I mean, they know
Yeah.
how long we sat there and watched a certain show on the Netflix. They know
Yeah.
our scrolling habits. Oh, they looked at this kind of content for 7.2 seconds. This one was only 3. Don't show the 3. Right? So that's what's happened. So but we've seen another industry. Look, over here in the US, because capitalism is the supreme king, is that we take in, how many, I look at this like, wow, what an amazing, cool thing. Yeah, we did. We lost some restaurants. We lost some service industry. We lost some mom and pops. The big corporations, they were in the process of shutting down anyway, in a lot of cases, especially retail outlets. But like when you talk about unloading, FQ, I'm just going to follow that up with the biggest thing we can unload is our expectation of how it should be. Right?
Yeah.
Our expectation for others, our expectation for our life. This is not to say don't have goals. As humans, we need those. We need goals. We need plans. We need to accomplish things. We need to have achievements. But what we've been able to do, I think, is really move away from the high expectations. And I'll tell you what I'm seeing, where I see the big struggle here in the U.S. is not so much with the adults or the new industries that the industries that have gone away or the ones that are coming in. It's the way that we're educating our children. Like that has been a huge game changer, and the way that we educate our children has like effects on a country, a society, a culture for generations, because of the belief systems that are implemented, in those formative years. So I think that we've seen, I have seen, and where I've seen the kind of a juxtaposing beliefs, is that, well, we were very much, so think about kind of in an Asian country where it's very much, India, I know a lot of people in India this way. Mm-hmm. Education, right? I mean, I can just tell you in the area I live in a very heavily populated Indian community, and I don't know one of them that's not at least a doctor of some sort.
Well,
Right?
I'm going to interject here. Not education. Degree. Get a degree. Learn nothing.
Correct.
Learn jack shit.
Title.
Just get a
Yeah.
bloody degree, man.
And I'm seeing a shift in that because now parents, what they're upset. Well, my kid doesn't get their honors classes. Well, why not? Because now you were never an honor student, and you have to teach them. So that's part of getting back to the basics as well, is that we're teaching our children. Once again, parents are involved in their children's education, and living with an educator, that's not common. So parental involvement in education over here is usually like, you gave my kid an A instead of an A+. Like that's when April like gets her ass kicked by parents and stuff, is, over things like that. Like, well, they turned this in on time and you gave them 99.2 instead of a 99.8.
Yeah.
Arguing over a tenth of a point and stuff like that. So I've seen a decrease in that, more to where parents are actively involved in saying, hey, I want to make sure my kid is safe.
Yeah.
Well, that's back to the basics. That's correct. And so I'm seeing a lot of more parental involvement. And I know it's challenging. I think it's a good thing. I see more benefits that came from this pandemic. I'm going to say, just as a human, kind of like, when I don't control the world, but what I really like, it's not anything I did, but in 100 years, I mean, we're still talking about what? You and I are talking about the Spanish flu and what those people did during the Spanish flu. People will look back at us. Like, that's pretty cool to have a benchmark on world history.
And you know what's sad, man? The Spanish flu does not have much recorded history. I mean, you have some photographs, some newspaper clips, but this shit, it's got to be really on the record. And the world's going to go, why did these assholes not wear a mask? Why the fuck were they fighting over whether I need to wash my hands or not? Why were they on Florida Beach partying in the middle of a pandemic? Just like we talk about the Philadelphia screw up and the Spanish flu, today we're going to talk about so many screw. Okay, talk about letting go. Very few comments in my career have bothered me. And many years ago, in absentia, one person was talking about me to another person, and the second person did not know who I was by name. So we're talking about Faisal Qureshi, and he goes, who Faisal Qureshi? And the guy who does that TV show. He goes, oh, the guy who takes himself very seriously. So later on, I was told this, and I was really offended, because there was a time when I was one pompous son of a bitch. I would sit on TV and talk like I was the queen of, whatever. And I used to really, there was this bizarre sense of self-importance, whatever fucking, I was young, I was stupid. And I took it I was like offended. And why are you doing this? Oh, motherfuckers, you don't know anything about it. But now, over the years, as I grew older, I realized that was well placed. But now, after this pandemic, and this is the lesson I want people to have before we, go towards concluding this discussion, is that we gotta stop taking shit seriously, stop taking crap seriously, and more than anything else, stop taking yourself seriously. What you need to take seriously is your relationships. What you need to take seriously is the opportunities the world, the universe is giving you. You need to take seriously what you have today and what you have in hand. What you need to take seriously, you got to be mindful. All those words, which were just fancy words till last year, are reality. Be mindful.
Yes.
Live in the moment. Be aware. Be conscious. Destroy the ego. Suppress your egoic mind. All those things are the learning what I think humanity needs to take from this, because Turkey and Greece are stirring up trouble. China and America are stirring up trouble. Taiwan and Hong Kong and they're all stirring up trouble. Stop it, man. Because while you think you're going to get into conflict, nature can wipe your army. Even Spanish flu. Yep. The idiots kept fighting World War I, hiding the fact of Spanish flu, just so they could go on fighting while Spanish flu was wiping them out.
Yeah.
So this is just a wake-up call that while you're busy killing each other, while you're busy taking your shit seriously, or yourself seriously, or your country seriously, or your religion seriously, or your race seriously, or your faith and belief seriously, nature can kill you and destroy you without discrimination. While you're busy wanking off thinking I'm superior to the other person, your little prick could just fall off.
Yeah, and I'll speak to over here in the U.S. I mean, you talk about things that have changed and how nature can take us out. I mean, at least here in the U.S., if you've been following these California wildfires at all, I mean, like over here, we have trees that just explode. Once they fall to the ground, like 18 months are on the ground, they just explode. I mean, that's what our president tells us. So, at least you don't have exploding trees.
Yeah.
So
and Austrians had to confirm that they don't live in the jungle. There was apparently something he said about the Austrians, and they've released an official statement. No, we do not live in the jungle. I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, Austria is not in the jungle. I would just say, I think it's a really cool that we've had this opportunity. I really do. I think it's a really neat thing that we've had the opportunity when, if you take and look at it as an opportunity. When I will just say for me is that one of the things that quarantine and the pandemic has the true blessings. The true blessing for me has been to really come and reconcile with the fact that my opinions don't mean shit.
Exactly.
My opinions are just that. They're just opinions. And to try to take a stand and defend a position on an opinion just doesn't make a lot of sense. And so, I don't know. It's kind of one of the things I say, and I've got an article coming out about this, but it's just, I think, I'll just say, when we look at the 2020 and we look at I'll just say this, when we look at the Trump presidency, the worst thing about the Trump presidency isn't what we've learned about Trump. It's what we've learned about our friends and family. And that is truly where the real freedom lies, is when you can really see people for who they are. And I don't mean like in an elected position, but the people that we choose to bring into our circle. And when you can really understand, man, that's really who they are as a person. Not everything is good or bad. There's a lot more neutral than we give credit for. And I really like what you said, is just that when you really take and you focus in on it, you can see the beauty in simplicity. So I'm ready to get some questions. I saw a couple of really good comments, and
Yeah.
I think we got this is a good topic, and I'm glad that we're focusing on a lot of negative stuff, and I'm glad we're focusing on the blessings of this instead of like pointing out somebody else's bad behavior.
So what do we have?
I don't know, like this comment. Coroner.
No
Is
idea,
that a
man.
name or
Screw
something?
it.
Okay, whatever.
No idea, man.
I thought the second word, I understand the first one. I was hoping maybe to get a language lesson today, but that's unfortunate.
No, maybe that was just a mistype of corona.
Oh, okay. Good eye, maybe.
Maybe.
So, Rafia. Good for you, Rafia. Outstanding. Yes. Right on. Found some TikTok. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't understand that one.
Oh, that's basically saying Assalamu alaikum.
Oh, cool. Oh. Wa alaikum salam.
There you go.
Okay. Shameen, thank you. Like, outstanding. Online shopping. That's perfect. You learn to do some online shopping. Outstanding. And I just say, like, once you learn how to online shop and you see that it actually works and it does really well, like, why would you want to go back to a store? I don't know. That's my opinion. Rafia, we know.
Yeah.
We know. Silly. I'm not going to wash my hands. Kushboo. I get what you're saying, and you're a funny person, but, like, please wash your hands.
Oh, you know what? I've washed my hands so much that my fingerprints are no longer scanning. I'm having fingerprint issues.
That's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Why would you want fingerprints?
To unlock your phone and get a bank account.
Use your face.
It doesn't work that way, man. Anyways, okay.
Or are there more opportunities for lazy asses to rule and stay useless? Yeah, Shami, I don't know. Possibly, very possibly. I mean, people in positions of power always do what they can to stay in there. I mean, it's just like people with their jobs. They might be terrible at their job, but they'll figure out a way to, continue to get a paycheck, right? So,
Yeah.
Kushbu, quarantine is a family. I think family, or not just family, but our relationships. I think what we can really find out is whether or not it's truly one of our greatest blessings or our biggest curse. Because
It has been an opportunity. It has been an opportunity to either sort your shit out or realize you can't sort your shit out.
Absolutely. Either way, it gives you a direction to move. Do I want to make it better, or do I want to move on?
I mean, stuff you had been putting off for a long time came to an end.
Yes, technology. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of physical tasks. I think it depends on what you're doing. But yeah, I agree. Technology, it's had to advance. I mean, you think about it, like in 10 years, the advancements that we're going to have in, like, infectious control, in disease knowledge, we're like, what an amazing time in history for the world to grow and stuff. I don't know. Politicians are politicians, rulers are rulers, and they've always fought, and they're going to always fight. And it's just power and control, because why do people like you and I not get into positions of power, FQ? Because, like, I don't really want all of that. I don't want that kind of life. Like, I don't need to be in control of everybody. We need narcissists up at the top.
Well, see, okay, I'm going to save that for Rafia's last comment. We'll come back to that. But let's look at Suhaib first. Dennis, I want to pass something the best to comment. Suhaib, it was a stroke of luck that our immunity sort of handled it better. The India-Pakistan immunity, maybe all the BCG vaccines we've had, or the polio vaccines we've been taking, something has worked in our favor, and we've been able to get herd immunity for COVID thankfully without much of a loss. I mean, I've had personal loss, but that's personal. Overall, our casualties have been very, very low, alhamdulillah, and not just for Pakistan, but also for India. So,
but India's changing, man. India's changing.
No, it's not. No. The fatality rate, you have to understand that there are 2 billion people. So if you look in that perspective, their fatality rate is really low. And so they will eventually also have some massive herd immunity. You have to look into the perspective of the number of people there.
I understand. To me, the question to me, can I compare? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm going to come right out and say it. I don't know what the United States policies are. I don't, because there's so much conflicting information. What I know is okay. Did the masks work? I get asked this. You're wearing a mask, so you know that they work? Nope, I don't. Here's what I know. Is that when I want to go to the supermarket to buy groceries, when I want to go to another store to buy other household items, when I want to go out in public and do things, people are wearing masks. If I want to get my shopping done, I need to put a mask on. So I'm just going to come right out and say it. I am not wearing a mask for you. I am not wearing a mask for me. I mean, other than so that I can get my stuff done. Like, I just don't understand why it is such a big deal. It's the same reason I put my seatbelt on. And I'm not afraid of dying, but I really don't want to be paralyzed or have my legs cut off and have to live like that.
It's moronic not to want to save yourself by just a little bit of effort. That's kind of stupid.
Exactly. I hate being inconvenienced. Why would I go to the store and have a 30-minute fight with a associate that has no decision-making power at all, when I could have just put the mask on and gone about my business and stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. So if you haven't taken the time in the pandemic to really focus on that, that's the skill I would really encourage people to focus on, is really, really focus on paying attention to yourself. Pay attention to yourself.
I want to answer this one. Yes, Rafi, when I said self-important, it's not in the way that I had a sense of entitlement. No, not about that self-important. But there was a time when I had the delusion that I could change things. I could make things better for Pakistan. I could change people. I could change the way things are, and I could improve the situation. But I realized that, and I don't want to talk about how I realized. But if you read a lot of philosophies, not Stoicism, but others and things like that, you realize that trying to change the nature of the beast is really just your egoic mind and your ego telling you that you are somebody or something. Who am I to take, 300 million people or 200 million people and tell them they're wrong?
Right.
I'm the minority. And that was a realization when I figured shirts like this are completely useless, stupid. This is bullshit. It may have worked for Braveheart. You can do ha, 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 and go and fight a war, but you know what? Not for individuals. So when I say I had a self-importance, it was not in terms of entitlement, but because I used to think that I could do something, and that was stupid of me. Dennis, any more comments before we say goodnight?
No, I just want to look at this, and I just want to point this out. So Kushbu, no alarm ringing for 5 months. You worked at home, and it was a blessing for you. Kushbu down here is, I realized the worth of breathing freely without wearing a mask. So Kushbu, everything that you're talking about, alarm clocks, the freedom that not having to wear a mask and those types of things, I appreciate you so much for saying that, because I'm going to encourage everybody, be more like Kushbu. Look for those smaller things. Find the beauty in the simplicity. Not wearing a mask, how amazing. So to kind of finish up, I'm just going to say, I'm really, in a lot of ways, I get very, very jealous of everybody getting to watch this show. I get jealous of you because you get this really nice big picture of my face to look at, and I am looking really good these days. So I feel very blessed for all of you getting to see me and hear me every day. No.
Yeah, the world's lucky, man. The world's lucky to get to see us. Dennis, and hey, bro, you know what? Another thing that has come out of COVID-19, the pandemic, is you and I have been planning to do this for over a year.
Yeah.
Never worked out, and finally...
Hey, you know what? You make stuff happen because you realize you might not have an opportunity tomorrow. So get on with your plans today.
Yes.
Yeah, if there's somebody you need to reach out to, something you've been wanting to do, you might not get it tomorrow. So at least get it started today. And people say, "Oh, do you work out so much? Do you work out every day?" Yeah, I do. And the reason is they're like, "Well, what if you get hit by a bus?" Well, then I get to like stand in line to the pearly gates, like being in the best shape of my life. So at least I had a good day before I went on to meet the Maker, right? So it just if there's something you've been planning to do, now is the time.
Do it now.
Start it. Make the relationships. Do something that you've wanted to do, because this opportunity might not come again. Hopefully, it doesn't come again in our lifetime. And if it, so that's what I have. Thank you so much,
It's
everybody.
now
We'll
or
see you
never.
next week.
Good night.